these things that you bring up are about leadership, and I talk about leadership all the time, and one of the things that I heard you say, and you've talked about with chimpanzees and other hierarchies that are out there, including lobsters, which I know you like quite a bit. And even lobsters have a dominance hierarchy, which is definitely incredible. Since how big is their brain?
Oh, it's not like, it's mostly distributed through their body. I mean, it's not that big. And yeah, it is absolutely unbelievable to know that the hierarchical arrangement, like the reason it's a symbolic reality, so that would be the Great Father, let's say. The reason that's a symbolic reality is because you can't see a hierarchy. Like if you look at the world, you don't see a hierarchy. But chimps know exactly where each chimp is in the hierarchy. So for example, a low-ranking mature chimp won't attack a high-ranking juvenile, even though he could tear him apart, because he knows that juvenile is actually an illusion. The juvenile is the juvenile, plus all the other chimps that will come to his rescue. Right, so he can't perceive the hierarchy with his eyes, but he can perceive the hierarchy with his emotions. Okay, so that hierarchy is essentially eternal. It's at least 350 million years old. And we perceive that all the time. We look at hierarchical posturing, we live in hierarchies of competence mostly. So that's a universal truth. And the fact that you have to struggle with the fact of the hierarchy is also universal truth. And you actually see this being played out to some degree in the leftist feminist arena, because really what's happening is they look at the hierarchy, let's say the male hierarchy, they don't attribute it to competence, they attribute to it power, and they make the presupposition that you get to the top by being the meanest, most exploitive creature possible. And so these are often damaged women who've never had a good relationship with a man, and who can't distinguish between competence and power. There's a big difference, because a hierarchy that's only based on power is a tyranny, but a hierarchy based on competence is something that gets things done. Like, that's exactly what you want in a hierarchy, is that the competent people climb the hierarchy so you can tell who's competent at the top. And you made reference to the chimpanzee work. I mean, Frans de Waal has showed quite clearly that unstable chimp power hierarchies are based on tyranny. So it is that the ugliest, meanest brute of a chimp gets to the top. But like as soon as he has a bad day, then 2-3/4 as strong chimps tear him into pieces. And the chimps that manage to maintain power at the top, or let's say authority, because that's a better word, because we got to get our words right. That's a chimp that has friends, and that engages in reciprocal grooming, and that pays reasonable attention to the females. And so it's so interesting to see that, because it shows that even at that level of biological organization, there's already a morality of leadership.
Yeah, and where that strikes me as so interesting, and I try to explain this to people all the time, because, well, in the SEAL teams, again, you might think the same thing. Well, the biggest, toughest SEAL that can destroy everyone else is going to be the leader that everyone looks to. And it's just not true. And in fact, a lot of times those guys that might be the biggest and the strongest and the fastest, they're actually arrogant as well, because they think they can beat everyone, and no one wants to work for those people. And so it happened when I first started my consulting business, and I would have a CEO say, "I can't wait till you come in and just whip my people into shape." Mm-hmm. And I'd say, well, you need to find somebody else that's going to whip people into shape, because I don't do that. and they couldn't quite put together that me wasn't into whipping people into shape. And what I wanted to actually do is teach people to lead, and to lead people myself. And when you're leading, you're not having to whip people. In fact,
that's an indication that you're not leading.
Exactly. That as a leader, the place where I usually found myself was I'm actually having to pull the reins back on people, because they're going far and away above what I actually would even want and expect them to do. They want to go even more and do more to accomplish the mission. And that's where you want to get. And I find it interesting that you talk about that all the time, that it's And it's not the person with the biggest club. It's not the person that's the meanest and the most aggressive. Sure, they might rise for a minute. They might get some control, and that happens in any organization. Oh, if you've got a CEO that really, he's just a tyrant and everyone's scared of him, he can make some things happen for a little while. And then all of a sudden someone says, oh, he wants us to do it that way? I'm going to do a little sabotage here.
Right, exactly.
Just a little sabotage.
Exactly.
Your project that you want us to get done by October 31st, it got delayed, boss.
Yeah.
And you can go nuts and you can yell and scream, but you should have listened to me when I said we needed more time. And now guess where we are?
Yeah.
We didn't deliver the product we're supposed to deliver. So you can yell and scream all you want. It's not going to get that product delivered.
Yeah, well, and if you tyrannize people badly enough, they'll actually hurt themselves to hurt you. So, you know, they're willing to take a hit to reclaim justice, let's say.